But we are ready to start looking at our players for our first match. Big Mongey versus Draconix. So we can send it over to the player spotlights here. This is Big Mongey. Nerdy, I know we know Draconix better than we know Big Mongey, but looking at these stats, sub 8 best rank time. This is just for season 2 as well. These stats here don't include season 1, don't include what they've played for so far in season 3. The average time being sub 13 is very impressive. I know that I don't think anyone has a sub 12 average. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at stats for this season, but I remember the best average for the season 1 playoffs was about a mid 12. So having that sub 13 average is very nice. The win-loss, these guys have played each other 15 times, and it's pretty even. So, I mean, we might see a game 3 in our first match.
Yeah, I mean, lots of stats to look at here. I think it's kind of hard because, how do these stats in general pair up to the stats of last season? Do we see a lower average time, or average time, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I'm very curious about that. Yeah, but definitely very impressive here. I mean, a 59% win rate is very solid, especially considering that 500 games played. That's definitely good, and I think you mentioned that 15 games have been played between these two, and it's been 8-7. So, that is about as close as you can get, right? And so I think maybe a slight edge, I guess, for whatever reason, or maybe it's just luck of the draw towards Mongey here, at least in the games that they played. But we'll have to see. But yeah, very, very solid stats here. Sub 8 is very impressive.
Yeah. I mean, just looks super even. So, I mean, if we throw it over to Draconix's player spotlight and see. So it's a little bit of a worse best ranked time and ranked average. Average drops by almost a minute and not even a sub 10 in ranked in season 2. Now, obviously, you've played less seeds. I know a lot of people's ranked PBs do come on these crazy Ruin Portal seeds that you would just never roll in real runs, like Gold Axe, Golden Carrots, 3 iron, you're on the fort. So not sure if that says much, but I'm more worried about that average time. But obviously it doesn't seem to have affected Draconix too much because, again, they've played 15 matches and it's literally as even as it can get. It would be 8-7 for somebody,
Yeah.
unless they drew, I guess, but no one really draws in ranked. So I mean, both of these players, Draconix has the better any percent PB, but it did say that Big Mongey was on single instance and has 500,000 resets on that. So could be a reason why Draconix's RSG is better than his ranked, and it's the other way around for Mongey. I'm more focusing on this 7-8 win-loss, 8-7 win-loss, that these two players are just very evenly matched. And I'd be surprised if we don't see a game 3. Just from a statistics perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially when you throw the seed pick bans into it. And before we get into those, we actually have a special season 2 exclusive player interview segment with Draconix. So we're going to throw it over to that before we get into our seed pick bans, before we get into our match.
Oh shit. Excellent. Yeah. Hello, I'm Draconix. I'm a New Zealand Minecraft speedrunner. I've been speedrunning for 3 years at this point. Qualified for Season 2 ranked playoffs. Gonna be cool to see where that goes. The first time I heard of Minecraft was through a Mario YouTuber, 10 years ago at this point? Back when beta 1.4 was the latest version. Yeah, and I've just been casually playing it. Maybe more recently I've become more competitive with it. I guess I could attribute Bed Wars and parkour, that sort of thing, to getting into speedrunning as well. I watched Illumina maybe when the 1.7 SSG world record was the best thing. Back when you had to get an 11i, not a 12i. And I sucked at it back then, but 1.16 came around and 3 years later, here we are. It was very interesting playing the 3rd or 4th seed. I always forget. Talked about it a lot at this point. The insta-perch that everyone seemed to have. I went for the 0 and it flew really early. And I'd lost 3 out of 6 explosives. So I had to do something about that before it perched. But then it perched diagonally really, really fast. And I had to think on my feet a bit. And I hit a 3-bed 1 anchor. Dude, That is ridiculous. It was a bit crazy, yeah. Well, I think one thing I do need to focus on is a mental thing. Not to calm myself down and focus is the main thing, but once I do, I think I can play mechanically well, make some good decisions, mostly mechanics, so I think the small time saves and things like zero and yeah, just playing the game fast, you know? Right now, I'm a full-time student for software engineering and graduating next year, and doing that alongside trying to be a top Minecraft speedrunner. Wasting hours of my life looking at a wall. It's a fun balance to be having at the moment, and yeah, glad I'm able to play in this tournament. Good result of a long grind.
That was sick. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen any of the interviews we have today. So I hope you guys liked that segment. We're gonna have more of those for more runners as we get into it. But it's nice seeing like the journey that people obviously like. We didn't even see that 3-bed 1 anchor in the quals, and just seeing like that. He said that there's like that mental gap, like mental barrier, you know. And I know a lot of runners struggle with that, but like he said, he knows he has the mechanics. You know what I mean? And it just comes down to that mental. Like if you can just focus and know that like you're gonna play well, you know, then the mechanics are there. It's just it really is more of a mental game a lot of the time, especially when you're 1v1ing someone in ranked and you can like see their advancements and see, oh, I lost 10 seconds to overall, but I thought I played it perfectly. Or like, how are they out of the bastion so fast? How did they blind so fast? So if you can sort of just ground yourself in that mental and know that like you're gonna play well regardless, because at the end of the day, like you can't change how your opponent plays. You can only change how you play. You know?
Yeah, it's one of those things that's interesting about Minecraft speedrunning races compared to like almost any other, I guess, esport, right? Is that it really is a game where you have almost zero influence on anything your opponent does. There's almost no decisions being made that are in reaction to decisions that you make, and vice versa. And it's usually just play the seed as fast. I mean, obviously there's edge cases where this isn't true, but for the most part, the strategy is just go fast. And so I think, yeah, like you said, trying to get in the headspace of this is just another Minecraft seed. I've done this thousands of times before. That's what you got to do, but obviously that's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah. And we are actually going to throw it into our seed pick bans. If you weren't here for season 1, the runners actually from our 5 seed types get to ban 1 seed each, and then the higher seed player gets to pick the first seed. The loser of that seed gets to pick seed 2. The loser of seed 2 gets to pick seed 3. What do you think about these seed bans? I mean, let's just go over it really quickly. Desert Temple ban, low food, makes sense. Shipwreck ban is a little interesting from Big Mongey. I'm not sure. It's just weird, you know, right? Like if you ban Desert Temple, you might also ban like Village or Room Portal, and then you sort of play that meta. Buried Treasures, Shipwreck, Village. You know, Desert Temple we've seen banned a lot, but Shipwreck is a little bit weird, and especially the Room Portal pick. It is like more of an obvious overworld type. Like you can't really miss the Room Portal. You can miss the Shipwreck.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And in like Village and Desert Temple, you can miss the lava pool sometimes, but yeah, Room Portal is going to make sure that they're basically on even footing entering the Nether.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that that's exactly the reasoning that Mongey had there, is just pick the thing that as the sort of lowest likelihood of, you know, being a coin flip as to whether you find it. And not that shipwrecks are too hard to find, but there's definitely that possibility that it could be, you know, in the other side of the ocean that you don't check, and the other person just sees it first, gets a head start, and you just get, you know, a minute behind or whatever. And I think that's probably where this ban is coming from. Maybe a bit of frustration from a previous recent match or something like along those lines. Either way, they choose to pick the ban of the shipwreck, and they choose to pick the thing that's a little bit more linear.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we're ready to just get into it. Seeing this Room Portal seed, our first seed of the day, we have at least 16 seeds to play if every match is a 2-0, and up to 24 today. So, I mean, this is the first seed of potentially 8 hours of amazing Minecraft. And we are ready to go.
And we're off.
And so on the overlay also, the players have their like bracket seeding. on the top left and right, obviously the names, their elo finishing season 2, and then you have that player info on the right to have a little bit of a comparison to while we're actually playing.
And the seeding is based on the season 2 final elo.
Yes.
And
Very
so
proven portal.
we'll see if that plays an
Check.
impact. Different from last season.
Oh my god, did he have something burned?
No, I don't think
No.
so. I think he, yeah.
Oh, dude,
I think
the
he got it.
fire charge burned. That's the only thing that burned was the fire charge. But he doesn't need it because the FNS something actually burned. Oh my god, that was crazy. But 56 iron. I mean, you do have to make a bucket and a pickaxe, but you can't because you only have 1 iron. This isn't completable. Definitely a weird room portal type for ranked. Usually they're like 1 obby completable, but both players starting this off. It's going to be interesting to see if people try to push food where you're getting water from as well. Like obviously it's not too hard to find water, but maybe one runner finds a lake that the other runner doesn't. We will see. Entering these seeds with no food is not good, but this like buried forest is weird, and Mongey finds water. Will Draconix run the same way? He will. He'll find this water also, and he actually has 1 chicken that ran away from Mongey, but Mongey getting the chickens as well. Maybe we'll have 2. Having like 1 or 2 food pieces, I think is like way more important than having 0. Like, how do I say this?
Yeah.
Like 4 food versus 2 is way less important than like 2 food versus 0, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like having that initial food, especially like so you don't have to just get an insta hunger reset, or like if you just take damage right like before the bastion. Yeah, we'll see.
Exactly. I mean, because you just can't hunger reset before the bastion, at least not usually.
Yeah.
So having that early food is absolutely big.
Got a bastion spike there. Looks pretty open and sees the fort as well. So gonna see how we're gonna find terrain to the bastion here, but it looks like it kind of opens up. And Mongey has a little bit of a lead entering this nether, and I think he has 1 more chicken, which is the best food source. Again, it is pretty important to have 1 extra food, but if Draconix can get to this bastion with the 1 chicken, and I mean, you can play full seeds on just no food. Obviously, it's not ideal, and if the seed requires food, obviously, you're playing the same seed as your opponent. So if you need food and you don't have it and the other person does, could be a huge time loss. But I think they're both doing fine, and it looks like Mongey is spotted. They both spotted the bastion, but it's a little bit of a different enter spot for both of them. Draconix is going to be able to start this top down. They're kind of doing the same thing though. This is good. Okay, Mongey builds up. And maybe take a little too much damage here. Draconix was able to like loot this chest from above, but Mongey figures it out. So I think Draconix saves a little bit of time here, sort of on the micro, being able to save a little bit of food. And just he's starting this route faster. He's gotten all the chests. He's out of the pigs. And I think it's just being able to enter at the very top and have that gold before. Oh,
he might be dead. I'm not sure. He survived. Yeah, nice.
He's good. Doesn't get those backup blocks, but it's way more important to just be alive at this point.
Yes.
And he actually has 3 chicken. I didn't see he killed 3 in the overworld. Okay, I thought he only had 1. Perfect. So, gonna be okay on the food. Won't have to hunger reset until the fort, or maybe even the blind if he takes no more damage in this bastion. That was weird. I mean, I don't think he had good blocks, or the pigs were just too fast getting these backups. But he's gonna go back up here and get them, I think. Because if you don't get these gold blocks, let's see what he's doing. Oh, maybe he was looking for something because he didn't get all the gold down here. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So lost that time save that he had from the better like bastion start. Just backfired. Speedy pigs getting in the way of that Glee route. He threw an iron pick apparently is what the chat said. That
that would be bad. That would be something you want to go back.
It was a panic situation. And he didn't die. So I'll give him that, right?
Yeah.
If you die on the seed, you basically lose. So he didn't die. A little bit of a time loss as opposed to a couple minutes. But I would put Mongey back in the lead. I think he will get back to this fort first because he's gotten those gold blocks. He's gotten... he's pyrang. This is weird. I don't know why. Maybe it's like a 5 RD because you're close to the fort, but like you saw the fort while you were going in. I know you saw the fort. So maybe it's like a preemptive pearl hang setup. I'm not sure. Because I don't think he's gonna actually pirate. Maybe he just lowered it like instinctually or something. I'm not sure. Like some seeds you do have to pirate. But I suspect it's a 5 RD play. Could be the Giga Brain 5 RD play. to force Hoglins in a Crimson. Which I don't think is necessary, but...
That would be insane.
Because I know there was a Crimson here. But he is leaving the Bastion first, but Draconix isn't that far behind. Only going to be about 10, 15 seconds behind leaving here. He's actually going to Pearl up. Looks like both runners have similar amounts of Pearls, explosives, things like that. It's going to be kind of
using a lot of Pearls.
First. Yeah. I mean, it will just speed you up. Obviously, in a low food seed, I don't love using a ton of Pearls, because like it does just put you, like, if Draconix gets just random Wither Skeleton around a quarter, he's dead. So it is like a riskier play, but it is speeding up his travel through this port, so he's made up a little bit of time, and they're hitting the spawner at basically the exact same time here. I mean, which is great.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's a bit of a risk. Is the risk worth it? We'll have to see. I mean, it definitely put him back in a sort of similar situation to Mongey case-wise, but now you're only on 3 hearts, whereas Mongey is, of course, on 10, so not exactly fair to compare, but definitely a bit of a risky decision. Hopefully it pays off.
Yeah. And I am looking at the player inventories here. It does look like both players have enough explosives for comfortable seasons. Baby Mongey's going to have 8 beds. Draconix has 138 strings, so I'm not sure what that converts into, but I think that's like at least 10 beds. And I know he's good. He's good enough to zero with like 5. So like both these players are going to zero. They both have 20 obby. Both have enough fire res and enough pearls. So it's going to come down to who's going to play this spawner better. Who's gonna, measure better, find that turn to second portal, hit the nav, Yeah, I mean, they're neck and neck right now. So we'll see.
For sure.
And a new rank change actually means that the spawners are completely standardized in the sense that they will spawn in the same interval for both players. So if it waits 15 seconds between spawn cycles and then 25, it'll do the same thing for the other player. And the blazes will attempt to spawn in the same exact spots. So if both players clear out the same blocks and have the same fire put out, the same light levels everywhere, they will get the exact same blaze spawns at the exact same time. So no one's going to be able to pull ahead on RNG due to that. If you clear your spawner better, you will get more blaze spawns if the other person doesn't, and it works out that way. But, I mean, both these runners doing the same exact thing here. Draconix is going to boat eye. Bingpigs is going to have to throw 2. Let's see. Draconix does get 1 eye, 90%. I think he's going to throw another one, though. Isn't 100% there. So not going to save time off of boat eye here. But getting that 100% certainty, especially in ranked, is very important. Because in real runs, you get an 80%, you might just send it. And if it misses, you just reset. It was a bad pace. But here, is he going to have to... Mongey's going to have to throw 3 eyes. Wow. So a little bit of a boat eye difference here, it looks like. But Draconix is going to hunger reset. So there's a little bit of that time save away, but that's a really clean setup for hunger resetting in Ocean Floating Portal. That was very clean. Boxing in the portal, putting the bed on top, spawning in there. Definitely knows his stuff, definitely knows his tech. And so that hunger reset isn't really going to lose him much time. And he's able to use a bed in the overworld so he doesn't have to burn an anchor in the nether. Obviously, like I said, in this seed, it's not going to matter. He has 138 string, but it is still a fast hunger reset. And he's on his way to Chords. And Bingpigs has 10 Ender Eyes, no Blaze Powder, so needs another rod here. It's going to have to wait for a spawner cycle. And Draconix is going.
Wow.
So
yeah, super nice stuff from Draconix.
And there's only so much seed left to play, Now, obviously, I think the Stronghold 1850, it says on Mongey's screen here, so going to be a lot of terrain. Could have some terrain differences here on who gets where, right? Like if you get somewhere faster, but Draconix has gold picks. So that was a little bit of time save. Going to do some boat crawl here as well. So, and Bingpigs is going on open terrain. Did they potentially get different strongholds if they were at different spawners? I don't know. Is this glaring lead that Draconix had not actually lead at all?
No, I think they were at the same spawner. I swear I saw the little I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's the same spawner.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I don't describe the little tunnel that led from the side to the in. I think I saw that on Draconix's stream, but I could be wrong. I may have missed all that, but it looks like maybe they are. I don't know. I feel like they're totally going in different directions.
Draconix is positive X, positive Z, and the stronghold is deep positive X for Mongey, so they could be, but he's gained all his time on this nav. I mean, it was fully open, and yeah, it is the same stronghold. So Mongey just found this open terrain, you know, left the fort a better way, and saved all this terrain time. And you know, is this going to affect Draconix's mental? Like, he knows he was measuring first. Maybe he thinks he lost time to the hunger reset, but he was back in the nether first with the rods. Can he keep that mental in check? Nail this preemptive. Does look hard. I do see a mine shaft in the stronghold on Mongey's screen. So you're going to have to know your preemptive numbers, but he's there. So
there we go.
If it's zeroable, we're good. And Draconix is gonna have to hunger reset. I mean, if you're in the end first and you're zeroing, you basically won. Unless it's like within a second and you bed the dragon better. Does he have... He has a gold pick for the dig up as well. 056, gonna be an easy pro clip here.
Oh! He missed
Not an easy pro clip. I mean, Draconix might have a chance now. It's front 87, maybe? So hittable, even without a gold pick.
Yeah.
Draconix is right next to this portal room. He has to go top. He has to go top left right there, and he's right there. I don't know if he hears it.
Draconix is also
top left off of this 5-way. Is he gonna check it? Is he gonna hear it now? Lava pops. Is he gonna hear the silverfish? He heard it. Heard silverfish. Go top left.
Okay.
You saw the subtitle. No. Check the door. No. It was there. He's gonna turn around. Bing Big's I'm saying one cycling, half bowing. So again, if Draconix finds it, it's gonna be maybe a 50-second, 1 minute end split if he hits that zero. I think it's very hittable.
First though.
And it might not matter either way.
Should be game, unless we get a big throw here.
I mean, we have like 10 beds. This would need to be like a I misplaced the bed and blew myself up sort of throw. Yeah. I see Dragon's Breath coming, but he's good, and that's gonna be our seed 1. I mean. This was very back and forth, much more back and forth than I expected from watching the seed. Like each runner took time save in every split. Like it felt like they were bouncing back and forth almost every split.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll throw it over the splits view real quick after the seed that we have, and we'll be able to see if it actually literally was every split. It's what it felt like. It felt like every single seed was just like faster overworld. Other player, faster bastion, faster fort enter. Yeah. Other player. I mean, yeah, okay. This is a little scuffed because Draconix touched the fort while heading to the bastion, so our enter fortress play here is a little scuffed. But yeah, I mean, Mongey lead in the overworld, no lead into the bastion. Draconix almost dying in the bastion, so throws away his lead entering the fort, has the lead blinding, and has that boat eye, so is able to enter the nether quicker, even with that hunger reset, and then loses 40 seconds on top of the time save, like leaving first. So probably lost like a minute on this terrain navigation. I mean, I don't know if Draconix, like they both entered the fort the same way, right? Like you go from the bastion, it's 1 pearl to the fort, so it must have just not seen terrain. Because I think Mongey just like left the fort the way he got in, had that open terrain, and that was just like 4 pearls. Draconix dug through a wall for 100 blocks. And then was still 100 blocks away from the cords because it just wasn't open. So I don't know if it was just didn't see that backwards terrain or thought that the fort sort of opened up in a way that it didn't. You know, sometimes they bury themselves weird ways, and then almost made it back. But even with that fast half approach, I'm not sure even if he found the portal room in that 5-way, if it would have mattered. I mean, the only thing, Mongey did choke that 0. So if you can just shake that off mentally, we are going to seed 2. Draconix does get the pick from our last 2 seed types. So if we have that in, we can throw it over there. And it looks like we do. It is buried treasure. So, I mean, it's only you're only picking 1 out of 2 potential seed types. You cannot replay a seed type in these best of 3. So Draconix only had a choice between buried treasure and village. And if you want to win the best of 3, Draconix has to win both seeds anyway. So, I mean, we talked about this a lot in season 1. Does it really matter what you pick here? Do you think it really matters out of the 2 seeds if you have to win both either way? I don't.
Yeah, I mean, not really.
For the
Is the
mental.
short answer.
I mean,
Just for the mental. That's
yeah.
the only way. From a strategic standpoint, no, it does not matter. But from a mental standpoint, maybe. So maybe Draconix very used to a lot of RSG resets. Just gonna pick Buried Treasure to hopefully get a seed up, and then keep that momentum going forward.
True. I mean, like you said in his interview, a lot of the game for him is mental. So if you can give yourself a seed where you're like very in the lead the whole time, like a commanding victory, it might bring your mental back. And if he thinks he can do that on Buried Treasure instead of Village, go for it. But you do have to win both anyways. Being down 0-1 in a best of 3 is not the best situation. But I think we're ready to send it into a seed 2. I think the players are ready. I'm excited. I wonder if this will be back and forth. I wonder if it'll be a blowout. I mean, Draconix almost died in that first seed, and it would have just been over, right? Obviously, the other player can die, like Mongey could have died also, but taking a 2-minute time loss is much worse than taking a 20-second time loss. So we will see.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate result for Draconix. I think he generally played the seed well until just that, I guess, the back now, like you said. But hopefully, shake it off, go on to the next, and yeah, I think Draconix will put us to our first 1-1. I believe.
I hope so. I mean, there is no double elimination in the bracket. If you lose your best of 3, it's over. You get two losses and you're out. Going through all the qualifiers, everything. Both of these runners whiffing a little bit on the spike. Is it here for Draconix? No. There's a big spike on his screen though. It's got to be visible. I mean, and you kind of just have to find it. You cannot see change in the playoffs. So lowering your FOV there is good. Trying to get more of a picture like where actually is the spike. Like what am I looking at, right? Because there will be fake stuff and all that, but is that the spike for being pigs? It looks like it is. I mean, there's a little bit of a gap there, and he finds it. And
Oh
now can
no.
Draconix also find it? It did look like there was a mine shaft in the when the F3F was happening, so it is findable. I think he's
Yep.
been over the right chunk. It is not this chunk though.
Oh no, this is a
I
disaster,
don't know
unfortunately.
where. Yeah, and I mean, obviously everyone's hardware is different. I don't know what spikes is specifically looking for, but you're behind, 20, 25 seconds and counting, and I don't know. No seed change, obviously. We know this isn't the spike either, unless there's 2 B2s on the island. Doesn't look like it, and he might full dig through this because there was 4 sand. And that's just going to be more time loss and food time loss as well. If you're low, 6 hearts to food or 2 shanks down or whatever. Yeah, I mean he does think it's still here. Maybe you think like, oh, it took Mongey a while to get this spike. Maybe this is where it is, but
Oh, he's just on the wrong
I
side
don't
of the
know,
island, I
man.
think, right?
Oh, this is the
Yeah,
chunk.
this
I think
is it?
this is the
Okay.
chunk. This is the chunk, and he knows it too. Saw the little mouse shake, the no mic mouse shake. Definitely, yeah, knows that's the chunk. Um, but
That
on
is
Monty's
unfortunate.
screen, hasn't seen a mag ravine. As I say, there it is. But I mean, you're ahead by like 45 seconds to a minute. Like,
I think mentally too, that's really frustrating coming out of a loss. Like it's not only the time loss, but it's very tangible time loss. Uh,
yeah, like
you know,
exactly what happened too. It's like
yeah.
it is comebackable. It is very comebackable. It's not
Oh
over.
no, objectively it is, yes. But
Yeah,
mentally, I think it's harder.
yeah.
And so,
And
not that
if it
Draconix can,
takes
but it's gonna be
if
hard.
it takes him this long to find the ravine, also, like who knows, right? Like obviously Manji was struggling for a reason on finding this ravine. So if it happens the same way as Draconix, he could just be losing more time, right? Who knows? Looking for an enter here. Doesn't look real, but it looks like he's gonna send it. Oh, maybe that is real. Not sure if Manji found the intended enter. Obviously, there is tried to filter a magma ravine within 11 chunks. Oh, this looks like this is doable, but like scuffed, I think. Okay, he's blocking off the water. I don't know. He's got to get like under this lava somehow. Yeah, this is okay. So this is gonna take a
Oh, yeah.
while, and Manji's already in the Bastion here. It looks like a buried maybe bridge single. Maybe that's a stables double. Looking at the chest position, I'm not sure. But Draconix is gonna be in this nether portal for another 20 seconds. He's kind
Yeah,
of
this
cranking it
is.
though. I think you just make as long as you don't
Yeah.
like get lava ticked here, and he's doing a good job. I think one more
It's.
source. Oh, and they're so far away that he's the lava
Oh,
can't even spread to him. All right, he's in.
all right.
It's not
He's
what you want to
in.
see, obviously. I think a minute and a half down in the overworld, but he's in. Um, and no gold trading so far for Mongey, so there is potential to save time on the Bastion routing. Like hasn't accessed a gap here yet. Looks like he's heading
Yeah,
into the
Stables
heart
is
of this
is
world.
probably the best case scenario, I would say, for Draconix, just because I feel like there's so much variation that Mongey maybe could get unlucky, and Draconix could make up time there by just
Yeah.
getting luckier with like which ways you check first. Um, so I think Stables is actually good here for Draconix, but at the same time, Mongey now trading a
Onto the
gap.
action as well. Oh,
Yeah.
looks like they're entering this buried part as well. So if he can play this buried like stables, should be able to
Yes.
identify it
Yes.
from where that chest is. Should be able to know you're in a stables double. And then if you can play it a little bit faster, you will save some time. Will it be enough? Don't know. But this is, I mean, in this
Anything will help.
situation, it's just so confusing. You just like dig down, like, where are you? I think he's in the back right now, potentially.
Ah, some frustration, clear.
Is he in the back? Is he in the front? Is this the inside? It's just like, where are you? You know what I mean? Like,
Ah, it's
you
such a.
just don't
I hate
know
this
where you are.
feeling
I
so much.
think I think he's in the back of the middle rampart right
I
now.
think that's right. Yeah.
But it's just like, we know that because we saw Manji scream. We know it's stables, but like, where are you? Like,
Very
I
hard.
have
It's
no
very
idea.
disorienting.
If he digs out
Um,
here, if you find the chest in this as well, like it might be a single. Okay,
there we go.
finds a single. He's gonna know now. Definitely knows it's stables. Not in the
Oh
middle
no,
though.
this is not good.
No, you get blocks down here and you're fine, but
Okay.
obviously it's
All
not
right.
amazing. Because you're gonna have to burn some food. Oh, he's in the middle. Looks like he's on the right. Are we checking for a gap here potentially? Definitely we'll know it's stables at this point, but I mean, doesn't have that time save. I mean, it is good that both the runners did struggle with this, so he's not like losing time necessarily, but he's not gaining back that minute and a half that he needed to from the overworld, right? Like that.
Yeah.
This is where like Manji struggled a little bit and where you need to pick up that time, and the time is not being picked up. So, you got to pick it up somewhere else, and there's only so much seed left to play. Once you get to the fort, and then blind, and then there's only so many splits, almost halfway through the seed, and we'll see. I mean, now I'm not sure. I mean, Manji's just okay. He does find out. That makes sense. Knowing where you exit. I'm not sure if they saw the fort or had to hit a pyre, but it looks like they know where they're going. Does see the fort. Okay. That's good. Gonna look at the inventory. Has 22 obby, 2 stacks of pearls. Explosives are a little whack, but it looks like there's 4 anchors and 4 beds. So not bad at all. Should be pretty zeroable. That is where Draconix could save time. We did see Mongey mess up the pearl clip. So that is potentially a very big time save, especially because the perch isn't guaranteed until like 3 minutes. Obviously, if you half bow, you can get a fast perch, but we will see. That is potentially some time save for Draconix, but are we even going to get there?
Yeah, it's Draconix is so far behind, and I again like not only that, but also being sort of mentally at a disadvantage as well. I just think is going to be very very tough. Not impossible, but very tough for Draconix to come back, and a lot of things Draconix can't even do a lot at this point. Like even if Draconix played perfectly from here on out, if Mongey just
Yeah.
played good enough, then there's nothing that Draconix could do.
No
So
ways. Found some
yeah,
basalt here that I don't even know Manji never saw. Looking
yeah, I
maybe
don't
for terrain
know
to
where we
pearling because
are.
he's not done with his trades. He only has 7 pearls. so I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, just not the best Bastion experience. What can you do? Mongey already building his first portal, 4 rods, so he's at least 4 rods ahead, if not better. We'll see what the Mike's playing a ton on.
Is it mine or yours? Mine?
It might be on the restreamer and it's both.
Hmm.
Well, we'll talk less. Until it gets fixed.
We're getting transformed into AI, guys. It's scary. It's good now? Already good?
Fixed? Dude, it's so weird because like I'm hearing nerdy fine, and so I'm like,
Yeah, I hear
it's
fiber
hard for
fine.
us to diagnose that. We're chilling. Good, good, good. That is good.
Transform into or revealing your true self as actual AI. Listen, listen. Sometimes the filters that we use to prevent our true identities from being revealed, they break, all right? That's all I gotta say. How do you think Feinberg's so good at AA? How you guys really think that was a real human being? It's not possible, okay?
I mean, Manji's gonna be 2 splits ahead here in a second. This is just brutal. I mean, it looks like Draconix didn't leave the Bastion the same way he came in. Like, I didn't even know there was a basalt in this nether. You know? Like,
Yeah.
did he pyrite a different fort? Did he? I don't know. But especially after like a close seed 1, you know, where it's just like you can maybe pinpoint like a terrain mistake and a Bastion mistake as your time loss, and now it's like, where's the fort and your opponent's in the stronghold. Like, what do you? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
And again, like,
we just need a throw here from Monkey. A
yeah,
failed 0, something bad.
and there's the thing. I just would need to die in 0. And I mean, if you're Mongey, do you even? I think you have to go for 0 for the mental, but it's not like you're not playing any more seeds today if you win. Like, it looks like he's gonna go for it. But like, if your opponent isn't even in the fort, it is just the correct decision to not try and 0, right?
Right.
Like, the 5% that you die is not worth, literally not, like you're 5 minutes ahead or something, right? And it's just small mistakes from Draconix just all adding up, and it's just an unfortunate like seed where Manji didn't really mess too much up. Like, maybe the Bastion was just weird. Like, neither of them played it well, but like I don't even know if it could be played well. You know?
No, for sure.
And it maybe like it obviously doesn't feel good for Draconix, but you can at least, I mean, it's just not so bad saying like you can at least say that you didn't just lose to the mapless like spike weirdness. Like, he's definitely more than 2 minutes behind, you know?
Yeah.
Like, from the overworld stuff, like the mapless and the weird ravine, like it was just a full seed. Like, every split was just something weird. And obviously, like, I don't know if that necessarily makes you feel better, but I know, like, me personally, I would be very like boomed about the overworld stuff. Like, that's what I don't that's the stuff that I just like hate messing up a lot more than other things.
Totally.
Is the overworld, because it's like there's no, well, I mean, in basically every case there's like no hostile mobs in the overworld, right? Like, you can't like just have a weird hoglin or a weird piglin. It's very hard to choke up and like to chalk up an overworld mistake to like RNG. Like, it's basically always your fault. Like, maybe the spikes were weird, there was a mine shaft, so I don't know. Oh,
Oh,
punch.
and just punches a piglin.
I mean, it's rough, but it's kind
Get some
of
food
been
out of it.
over. Yeah. It's kind of been over, unfortunately. I don't think this one cycle is going to be chokeable. And I mean, yeah, it's just everything. Like even entering this fort, he's just entering at a weird spot, like where the inside is just buried, you know. So it's like
Right.
it took him a minute here to find the spawner. Like, could he have like went up a little earlier? Maybe like, is it just a mental thing?
Yes. I think the answer to that is
Yeah, like
yes.
I think a lot of it is a mental thing. It drops a rod there too. Like it's just, and we got these zombie pigs coming, and you're one tap, but we are already one cycling for Mongey,
Yeah.
and it's not really going to be throwable, right? 4 beds, 4 anchors. Like maybe you, oh, okay. Well, he did. I was gonna say maybe you quadruple charge the anchor and you fuck it up, and then it's not axable. And so like that is what happened, but it's still axable. Like it could have bugged. He made it a non-zero throwable chance, but it is still good. And that's the game. It's a rough seed 2 to watch, especially after seed 1 being close, back and forth fight, basically every split. I mean, I think Big Pigs did play this seed better. A lot of it is just chalked up to terrain stuff, and I mean, yeah, these splits are just rough. Not much to look at compared to last seed. Like, just only a minute and a half in the overworld. It felt worse, honestly. Like, and maybe it is a little worse because Draconix was low on food, but I think Mongey played the Nether like better in handling the Bastion. Like I think
Yep.
Draconix could have left where he entered. Obviously a lot of it is hindsight, right? Like I don't know how I would have played it, how we would have played it if we were actually playing the seed. And again, a lot of it is mental. Like if you're a minute and a half behind entering the Nether, are you gonna like play riskier?
True, actually. Yeah.
I don't know. So it could be that. But it is just rough seeing like just completely different terrain from both runners, and Draconix's was just worse when it needed to be that better decision to save the time. So unfortunately that's just how it goes. And because it is single elimination, Draconix is our first runner eliminated from the season 2 ranked playoffs. 07, people sad. Your favorite sad emoji in the chat.
Salutes to
But we have 7
Draconix.
more games today. It is a little bit of a sad seed too. But it is bound to happen, right? If someone dies, someone takes weird terrain and stuff, it will happen.